Welcome to Blue Heron Hill. Happy Cinco de Mayo. It's muy frío out here. I can't believe how cool it is still in the beginning of May. I cannot put many plants outside at all. I have my brassicas and they're doing fine. I have some lettuce in this bed in front of me doing just fine. But everything else has to stay inside. It's not going to be acclimated to these cooler temperatures. It's only in the mid-40s today. I have a wool hat on, fleece jacket, sweatshirt on underneath. It is cold. But today is very exciting because I am harvesting my first crop from the garden. We are going to have a giant salad tonight with fresh greens from the garden. Come on, I'll show you what I'm doing. Now this is my initial lettuce bed. So here we have butter crunch lettuce, and this I grew from seed inside and then brought it outside. These two rows were planted from seed. This is a ruby red, and this is a flashy butter gem, I think it's called. Love the variegated colors on that. So let's harvest. Isn't that lovely? I am picking the whole head, although this is not what I would call a mature butter crunch. But since I am really just needing to get this front part out so I can start, whenever it gets warmer, planting my beans, I am just going to harvest that entire one. I could cut it off so then it could come again, you know, with more of the leaves coming out of the center, and just harvest the one on the outside. But today, I'm too excited for that. I want the whole head. There, oh, look at that one. Is that not a work of beauty? Woo, lovely. Okay, so 2 of these, and I think I'll just pull up these and use those as fresh little greens. I have more of this variety planted and plan to plant more, so I can stand to just cut these entire little leaflets up. I'll get some of this ruby. Lovely. I never did thin this out, and usually I don't when I use it for cut and come again lettuce. But isn't that so pretty? Look at this one. This is a different kind of a variation here. Doesn't have quite so much speckling on it. Oh, nature. She did something with that seed, didn't she? But isn't it so pretty? Like a floral bouquet. All right, there is my basket of lettuces. I'm going to come over and we're going to pick some of the spinach also. I am not too pleased with my spinach crop. I thought it would probably be a lot larger than it is. The spinach doesn't mind the cold weather. Not in the least. And usually the leaves are much bigger by this time. Okay. There we go. That's a nice amount. And away we go down to the other end. And I am going to pick some of these radishes. go in. This is a French breakfast radish. Isn't that pretty? Okay. There we go. Now I have a couple succession plantings here. This was my first planting. This was planted at the same time, but they didn't germinate right away, so I had to replant those. And then I came along and planted this row here. And we do have that cute little lettuce that decided to join the radish crowd. So it looks like I have some larger radishes here, which I never did thin these out. I don't feel that radishes really need to be thinned out. You just pick them. They kind of push each other to the side. So this is dinner. And let's go on into the kitchen, and I am going to make a vinaigrette to top this salad. So let's go on into the kitchen and warm up. Now there's one thing I missed. It's my kale. I think we'll be able to harvest a few of these leaves. Now, this is a dwarf kale. I'm just going to cut some of the outer leaves. There we go. That'll be tasty. I think this kale is tender enough that we'll just be able to slice it up, shred it up, and eat it raw in the salad. I decided to stop in and collect eggs because I hadn't collected eggs yet today. Isn't that a pretty sight? 10 beautiful, beautiful fresh eggs. So I've made myself a cup of tea. Isn't that a cute little mug? I'm gonna drink a couple sips of my nice warm tea, and then we'll get started making this vinaigrette. Welcome. This is my kitchen. If you haven't seen some of my videos from last summer where I'm cooking in the kitchen, go back to my playlists and take a look at some of those recipes. Anyway, have the greens, haven't washed them up yet, gonna wash them up, but I wanna make with you a vinaigrette that's gonna be a lovely accent to this salad. Now this is kind of a taco salad dressing. So we usually start with a mason jar just because you can put a top on it, shake it all up, stores very well in the refrigerator. So this one I'm going to need a funnel to put on the top. Our first ingredient, I'm using avocado oil. You can use any light kind of light tasting oil. I tend to shy away from olive oil because it has a particular taste to it. I do use olive oil, but usually in my dressings, I tend to stay away. And also with olive oil, if you put olive oil in the refrigerator, it solidifies. It's usually only viscous at room temperature. So we're going to start with avocado oil, and this recipe calls for 1/2 cup. Now with all of my salad dressings, I don't adhere fully to exact measurements. So, wrong one. Okay, now I need a full cup of salsa. This is my homemade salsa. Usually I don't fill the jars this much, but I crammed in an extra jar that I had in the refrigerator. So my salsa I love to make with corn, black beans, and then of course your tomatoes, your onions, your garlic, your peppers, everything else. This particular salsa is not that hot. If you like it hotter, pick your own kind of salsa that you like, if you like the jarred kind from the store. Okay, so 1 cup of salsa. Then we need 2 to 3 tablespoons of lime juice. Now, I didn't have any limes, but when they were on sale, and this is what I do with all my limes and my lemons, I cut them up into wedges, and then I freeze them and keep them in the freezer. So for certain instances like this, now I have fresh lime juice. I'll squeeze that one out. There we go. And that's about 2 right there. Get all that goodness in there. Okay, next we have cilantro. Now, my cilantro is growing in my garden. Not quite ready. If I harvested everything that I need for this recipe, I wouldn't have any more left. So what I do is, during the season, and this was last season, I freeze them in ice cube trays. And then I have them all year. And they're perfect in a recipe like this. I'm going to put that one back in the freezer. This is 2 ice cubes worth of cilantro. Cilantro in the garden does not like heat. So you grow it in the cooler spring, early summer months. And before it bolts, I usually harvest it all, chop it up, put in ice cube trays with top it off little water so it stays, and then put it in the freezer, and it freezes, pop it out, put it in plastic bags labeled, and put it back in the freezer, and it's there to use for whenever I need it. Next ingredient is cumin, and it calls for half a teaspoon. Now, if you don't like a lot of cumin, put in less. If you like more, put in more. But it's just one of the ingredients. Gives it that Southwest flavor. Next, we need salt. And we need about a half a teaspoon of salt. Perfect. All right. Next, we need garlic. Here's a clove of garlic. Look at how giant that is. This is one of the last of my garlics, actually. Here. This is all I have left. And I think I had a huge crop last year, so this is good. Now, this is hard-necked variety, so you get a stalk that's very hard. I find that the cloves of the hard-neck are very large and very few in a head. Like this particular head has 3 cloves in it. So, biggie. I love garlic. You don't like that much garlic? Certainly don't put that much garlic in your dressing. I use a microplane and grate this up. Even at this time, if you have a tiny bit of green showing, that's not a problem. These are hard-neck variety of garlic, don't tend to store as well as the soft neck. But one thing I like about the hard-neck variety of garlic, it gives you scapes. And they're an extra harvest when you're growing your garlic. Okay, ooh, this is going to be lovely. It smells good. Those are all the ingredients for this dressing of our salad. Works just fine. Very good. I'll even give it a little bit of taste to see if it may need some more. It may need more heat. No, it's perfect. This batch of salsa have a little bit more heat to it. So this is a very, very thick dressing. I'm going to be using it on my salad. It'd probably make a very nice dip also. Anyway, I'm going to wash up my greens. What else do I have? I have kale, I have lettuce, I have spinach, and I have my radishes. So I'm going to wash that up. We're going to make a salad. Okay, stay tuned. I'll be right back. I had a real good idea. To go with my salad tonight that I'm using my taco dressing on, I'm going to make some tortilla chips. I have none in the house, but I do have flour tortillas. Easy way, and you can make them in a multitude of ways and flavor them how you like. So you need a little oil. I'm using the avocado oil that I had out. I have here six-inch tortillas. Use any size you want. You're going to brush them with oil, both sides. And I have my oven heating to 350. Sometimes if you spread it on one, you're stacking it up like that, you get a little bit, sometimes you get the other side coated so you don't have to turn it over. There we go. All right, so it's gonna be a little messy. Done with the oil. I'm gonna cut these up first in half, and then in thirds, each half in thirds. So the entire tortilla in sixths. There we go. We're going to put them on a baking sheet. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. Spread them out on a baking sheet. Use parchment paper if you like. I just didn't get it out. I have 2 sheets here. I don't know that I'm going to need 2 sheets. Usually if I have a dozen tortillas. Okay, instead of crowding, we'll go ahead and use a second sheet. There we go. All right. Now, I am going to use salt on one tray here. Just lightly salt, not too heavy. If you have problems with salt, don't do the salt. You could use a salt-free substitute. This other tray, I'm going to use some taco seasoning. Now, if you want to flip them over and do the seasoning on both sides, you can do that. I'm going to leave it so they're only on one side. This is going to go into your oven, 350, for about 12 to 15 minutes. So when my oven comes to temperature, that's what I'm going to do. And we will be back when they come out. See you then. So here we go. And they are so good and crunchy. Just the right amount of salt. This one with the taco seasoning, very good. Here's dinner tonight. Greens, I had a little bit of a couple cherry tomatoes from the market. I even found in my refrigerator meatballs. We had spaghetti and meatballs last night, so I cut up a couple meatballs. And this is our taco salad. So we can dress these around the edge. A couple of our homemade chips. This is going to be wonderful. If I don't call my husband pretty soon to come and eat these, I'm going to eat all these chips because they're so good. You should try it. Very, very easy. Much better than those store-bought ones. Okay, here's our sauce. It's good to have this sauce kind of sit for a little while so all the flavors kind of blend together. Oh, and a tip about the tortilla chips in the oven. I put them in, and halfway through, I rotated my pans. Did it for 13 minutes to start, then checked them for their crispness, and then I gave them an extra 2 minutes, so a total of 15. So here we are. I'm just going to lightly sprinkle over the top. Oh, luscious. So this is what's for dinner tonight at my house. Anyway, I'm very excited to have harvested my first from my garden. Radishes, lettuces, spinach, some kale. It's all in here. And show you how to make fresh homemade oven tortilla chips. So anyway, thank you for joining me. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Pass this around to all of your friends, anybody that might be interesting. I don't only do gardening, also do cooking in the kitchen, especially with the new produce coming in the garden. I'll be doing a lot of that. So give me a thumbs up if you like, and maybe on the next video, we'll actually go digging in the dirt out in the garden. So see you on the next one. Bye.